Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? This Memorial Day, first official day of summer. How you doing, Miss Alicia? Hope everything's going good down y'all way. Wasn't sure if there's gonna be a lot of people here today with it being a holiday, but y'all know how it gets down. Whether you're gonna be here or not, I'm gonna be here. If you want to be here, I'll be here for you. This thing looks crooked to me for some reason. Let me get this. I just give a minute or so, let people get in while I get situated, and we'll go to get this lesson started. I don't want to keep y'all long, and I know I always say that, but my wife is actually currently grilling out right now. They got started a little late, and she had some stuff to do, and my daughter had an interview, so she got started later. So now I'm in here, messing with y'all, and she out there grilling, and I don't want to miss none of the food. So I'm going to try not to keep y'all too late, but y'all know how that spirit goes. When that spirit get to going, then I just got to roll with it. You see what I'm saying? So I ain't going to rush this lesson at all. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to try to keep it short so I can get some burgers. My wife's burgers be good, and by the time I get to them, they'll be gone if I hold y'all too late. You know what I'm saying? So hope y'all having a good Memorial Day, remembering everybody that sacrificed for us to be here, for us to be able to have the freedoms to do the things that we do, to have the freedom to do these lessons and things of that nature, for us to be able to gather together as a family safely. In foreign countries, they can't do stuff like this. So it's definitely a blessing. And I just thank everybody that served, the ones that still serving, thank y'all as well. But I definitely thank the ones that served and they gave the ultimate sacrifice and sacrificed their life for us to be here. So that being said, I got a little bit of a review anyway. So I'm just going to go ahead and jump into the lesson. So like I said, what up, Dale J? Appreciate you being here, bro. I'm glad. I know y'all was getting ready to grill out too. Like I said, my wife still got the grill going. She just throwing the ribs and stuff on. So my mouth is watering, y'all can tell. And I ain't trying to be in here all day messing around with y'all. But it's still got to get that word in. Y'all know how I do. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the lesson so we can get in, and hopefully get it done, and I can get to this plate that's going to be waiting on me when I get done. So, of course, if y'all follow me last week, there's a continuation of the lesson that we did last week. The lesson we did last week was called Dealing with Success. So over the last few weeks, I've been telling you, we've talked about how only way you're going to truly be successful is by finding the will of God for your life and following that will. And everything that outside the will of God, the world might call it successful because you have money, cars, clothes, and things of that nature, but that's not true success. True success looks different from worldly success. So, we've been talking about that. So the last week, I kind of switched it up a little bit. We still talking about success, but I was talking about now, once you get that success, what to do with that success. And that's what the lesson been called, dealing with success. Because once you become successful, and we're going to see as we get into, we only got through the first 3 points last week, but I got 5 more left, so I'm hoping that it shouldn't be a 3-part series. I'm trying to get through them all tonight. Not to rush them. I got some good points to bring out about them, but not to rush them. But I should be able to get through them all tonight. But we're talking about once you experience success, once you become successful, there's going to be some elements that's going to come along with this success that you need to be prepared for as well. To be able to have the right mindset to deal with those things as well, so that you will be able to, so the success won't overtake you, so to speak. Because we've seen so many people become successful and then they go astray because of their success. So that's what's the title of this lesson is called, Dealing with Success. And again, we've been talking about how to find success in the will of God. And now we're going to talk about how to deal with that success once it comes in. So again, appreciate everybody being here. Y'all gonna probably hear door opening, closing, and all that. I apologize. Like I said, we got the grill going and we got family over and everything. So they all out there having fun and I'm in here having fun with y'all. I hope y'all had a good Memorial Day. But like I said, I'm Brother John on behalf of Lost Sheep Ministry, sponsored by River Lake Baptist Church. And I'm here to bring y'all this lesson on this Memorial Day about dealing with success. So again, if you been following me and been listening along last week, the lesson was part 1 of dealing with success. And we covered the first 3 points. So point number 1 from last week, and of course we're in, if you got your Bibles and you're trying to follow along, we're going to be in 1 Samuel chapter 10. Like I said, tonight we should finish up chapter 10 tonight. Like I said, I'm not going to draw it out any longer than it have to be, but I am going to bring these truths that I have. But we'll be in 1 Samuel chapter 10 tonight. We're going to be starting around verse 24 in 1 Samuel chapter 10. So if you want to follow along, that's where we'll be at. So just quick review. Like I said, we went through 3 points last week of things, elements that you need to be aware of, things that you need to know. Once you start following God's will for your life and become successful, these are the things you need to know so you'll be able to stay successful, and the things that's going to come up that's going to help you deal with the success. So number 1 from last week, the first thing we saw was, number 1, don't let the highs of success make you forget the lows of despair the Lord brought you through. And we saw where it started off, when he was talking about when Samuel brought all the people together, he pretty much gave on them. He like, this is the message I have from you from the Lord. I brought you out of Egypt and I gave you this land and I did all these things for you and I was supposed to be your king, and yet you still want to be like the world. He said, so, you know what I'm saying? So he kind of reminded them of how far he had brought them and everything he had brought them through, dealing with Egypt, guiding them through the wilderness, guiding them through the wars, through the war era when Joshua and Moses was leading them, and all the stuff that he's brought them through and kept them safe, protected, but yet they still wanted to reject him. Once they had the success, once they was in the land, once they had been living in the land for a while, then God was no longer good for them. They wanted their own God. They wanted the king. So that's what number 1 was. Don't let the highs of success make you forget the lows of despair that the Lord brought you through. And that's what kind of Samuel was reminding them of, all the things that God had did before for them, and yet they still was rejecting him. So that was number 1 from last week. Don't let the highs of success make you forget the lows of despair that the Lord brought you through. In other words, make sure you stay humble. And of course, I gave you several examples, and I went through several examples that I use of people that I know and stories that I know of where people have done that. I went through the book of Judges. We saw how Israel constantly did that in the book of Judges. And I also went over to talk about celebrities and how they start off as good Christian people. I think I talked about Beyonce specifically, but they start off good Christian people. Then as they get, the more successful they get, the farther away from God they seem to get. And then I also ended by talking about King Amaziah, which was found in 2 Chronicles chapter 25, and how he started off as a good king, and the Lord blessed him because of it. And then toward the end of his life, he went away from the Lord. He ended up being punished because of that. So that was number 1 from first point of this lesson of dealing with success. Don't let the highs of success make you forget the lows of despair that the Lord brought you through. Number 2 from last week's lesson. Number 2 is this. Everyone is called by success, but only a few are chosen. And I went over Matthew chapter 22, verse 14 with y'all, where Jesus himself has said, many are called, but few are chosen. And, and we said, why is that? And we kind of got into why is that. And we talked about how a lot of people just not willing. The reason why they're called, everybody's chosen for success. God didn't put anybody here to be unsuccessful. God didn't put anybody here to be drug addicts. God didn't put anybody here to be alcoholics. He didn't put anybody here to be in and out of jail all the time. God didn't put us here for those things. He put us here to be successful. But at some point in our life, we didn't answer that call when it came to us. And that's why we end up in those situations that we're in. And we kind of talked about that. And we just said, and the reason why is because a lot of people are not willing to make the sacrifices it takes to live by the will of God. A lot of people is not willing what else I said? Not willing to give up their will for God's will. And a lot of times we see the drug addicts and things of that nature. Those are people that they end up in those situations because they're living for their will and not God's will. So again, that was the point last week, and I talked about even with the people in and out of jail or drug addicts. I know several people that used to be drug addicts, and now they're very productive members of society doing a great work for the Lord. I work with a Hope Center, and that Hope Center is ran by ex-drug addicts, and some of these guys are doing great work for the Lord. So I know once you answer that call, you can be successful. But a lot of people are called, but a lot of them are not successful because they're not answering that call. No, and that's why only a few are chosen, because there's only a few that's really willing to make that sacrifice. So again, that was point number 2 from last week's lesson. Everyone is called by success, but only a few are chosen. And then number 3, which was the last one that we went through last week, and we stopped at number 3. Number 3 was this: your fear of success keeps you from success. Your fear of success keeps you from being successful. And I just talked about how y'all remember I read y'all that poem, My Greatest Fear, which is one of my favorite poems. I love that poem, and it actually kind of backed up what I have been talking about in the first 2 points. But I just talked about how a lot of times we're not successful because we're afraid of being successful, and we're afraid of what's going to come along with this success if we do. And actually, tonight's point is going to get into dealing with the things that come along, a little bit more of dealing with the things that come along with success. So this point really going to go with what we're talking about tonight. But a lot of time, our fear of success is what keeps us from being successful. And I told you that's my own personal struggle. That's one I've dealt with a lot. I've had my cousin and people all through my life ask me why I doubt myself, why I'm not doing more. And sometimes, like I said, it's either because of the will of God. Sometimes it's because it's just not in God's will. But sometimes it's just my fear of being successful, being truly successful. And my fear of failure keeps me from soaring higher than I could possibly soar. And I know I'm not the only one that's dealing with that. So that was the point number 3 from last week's lesson. Your fear of success keep you from being successful. So that's what we stopped at last week. Like I said, that finished up 1 Samuel chapter 10, verse 23 is where we stopped at. And we're going to start at verse 24 tonight. And we're going to continue on in this lesson. Hopefully, we're going to conclude this lesson. It's just a little 2-part series of how to deal with success. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pray so I can jump into this. Dear Lord and Heavenly Father, thank you so much for watching over us today. Once again, Lord, thank you for this holiday. We got a lot of people got off. Some people still had to work, but a lot of people got off today, Lord. And it's such a blessing to have people that are willing to give up their everything, their health and their safety and their lives to protect the health, safety, and lives of others, Lord. And not only just the military. I know we mostly focus on the military for this day, but I feel the same way about people in the military, definitely, people in law enforcement, and the people in rescue services like fire department, ambulance, and things of that nature, Lord. Anybody that put their life, health, and safety at risk for the life, health, and safety of others, my hat's off to them. And I thank you for all those ones that have made that ultimate sacrifice and lost their lives for our freedoms, Lord, and for our health and safety. And we pray you just continue to be with them, their families, help their families know that the thing they did was an honorable thing, and just let their families know that we do not forget, we do remember the sacrifice that they made. And we pray, Lord, the same goes for your servants. There's a lot of people, a lot of servants of yours that have been martyred over the years so that we can have this word. So I'm thankful for them as well. We need to not forget them on this day as well, Lord. And anyone who's made that sacrifice for the betterment of others, Lord. So we just thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for my family being here and giving me the opportunity to celebrate with them. And I also thank you for the ones that, even though it is a holiday, even though they are grilling out, they're still here to hear your word tonight. That is such a blessing and encouragement to me, Lord. So I pray you send your spirit down upon my heart as I bring these truths out of this lesson and giving us the wisdom that we need on how to deal with success. And I pray that you just let your spirit work on me and work through me so I can use these words tonight to help others get to where they need to be according to your will. And I pray you let your spirit rest upon their hearts and minds to open their hearts and minds up to these truths and use these truths to live a life that will be honorable and acceptable and in your perfect will. We love you so very much. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for your word. And we say this prayer in your wonderful son, Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Some of this high quality H2O. Right, and we're gonna get started. So again, we're gonna be in 1 Samuel. Like I said, we only got a few verses left. We got 24. I think it's only like 27 verses. So if I can't get through that, then man, to get to this barbecue, then there's just something wrong with me. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna go. Like I said, I'm not gonna rush it. There's some really good points. Really good things that you need to continue to be aware of as you deal with this success. Now, especially if you've been watching the last 9 lessons and you're really taking them to heart and doing the things that I've been telling you to do as far as living God's will for your life, you start getting that success. These are things that help you once you start getting that success, help you be able to maintain that success and not to let that success take a hold of you or take you out of the will of God. So, of course, like I said, we're going to start off 1 Samuel chapter 10, verse 24. And for those of you that may be new or haven't watched my sermons before or watched my videos before, I will be reading out the New Living Translation. I am a King James believer. I'm not being a heretic. I am a King James believer, but the New Living Translation is putting in plain English. So, because y'all will see as we get into this, I already talk enough. So if I have to explain every single thing, it's going to make it even longer. So I just put it in plain English so everybody understands what's being said and the lesson can really be taken into heart. So with that being said, I'm going to start over in 1 Samuel chapter 10, verse 24 is where I'm going to start at tonight. So it says, and of course, this is what's going on. Of course, the first 3 points we saw where Saul, he had already anointed Samuel had already anointed Saul as king in private kind of thing, and told Saul what all he needed to do and what the Lord was calling him to do. And now he's basically making it official. He's anointing him as king in front of everybody. So that's what's going on. He's basically called the whole nation of Israel together as an assembly so they can make it official and they can see that the prophet of God, which, you know, Samuel was a known prophet of God. He was making sure that they understand that, hey, excuse me, I'm sorry, drunk too much water. He's just bringing them together so they can understand that, hey, this is who the Lord has chosen, and this is what he's going to do. You know, this is what he's going to do. This is the king that y'all wanted. This is the guy the Lord's chosen. So y'all need to respect him as king from this moment forward. So it's kind of like his coronation, again, putting it in front of everybody so there be no doubts and no backbiting and no bickering about, you know what I'm saying, who this man is and what his position is and what God has chosen for his role. So that's where we at. So again, he was getting on them about the things that they had done. And he was told them, he started in the last verse in 2 and 3 said, and the Lord replied, he is hiding. Remember, they was looking for Saul, and Saul was hiding. He was scared. He didn't want to, you know, he was afraid to do it because, again, this is going to come with a lot. As a matter of fact, one of our points is going to come up, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. But it was a lot of pressure being the very first king of the nation of Israel, which were known as the chosen people of God. So that's a lot of pressure. So when it came time for him to step up, he was afraid and he was actually hiding, and they had to go find him and bring him back so he can be ordained as king or whatnot. So that's kind of where we was at. They was looking for him, so they finally went and bought him. So they finally bought him back up. He's standing in front of people, and that's what we pick up at right here in verse 24. So it says, then Samuel said to all the people, this is the man that the Lord has chosen as your king. No one in all of Israel is his equal. So that's going to actually, that statement that he made right there is going to take us to our first point of the night. But this is actually point number 4 in the lesson. This is something that you have to understand about success. This will keep you humble, and make sure you remember this. Success may elevate you above man, but never above God. So you have to remember that success may elevate you above man, but it will never elevate you above God. And the reason why I wanted to put that point there, you got to understand, again, we go back, we've kind of been talking about success. We've been talking about celebrities. I think, like I said, I talked about Beyonce in point number 1. And actually, I'm going to bring up her husband in this point. You know what I'm saying? Success will elevate you above man, but never above God. In other words, it might give you status above somebody else. You know what I'm saying? I was talking about Beyonce, her husband, Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason, I don't like Jay-Z. I don't like him all that much. And he makes good music. There's some songs that he makes that if they come on, I'll bob my head. He makes good music, but I don't like him as a person, or who the person that he personifies himself to be. You know what I'm saying? He called himself, one of his nicknames, or they call himself as Jehovah. And if you know anything, if you've been reading your Bible at all, you know anything about your Bible, you know that's God's name. God, that's God's real name. He called him, God is Jehovah. And this guy has been elevated so much above men that now he feel like he's God. And you know, talk to him. Most of the interviews I've seen and most of the things surrounding this guy when it comes to God, it kind of gives me the idea. Now, I've never talked to him. I've never asked him personally. I can only go off the interviews that I've seen and things that I've seen written about him and things of that nature, things that he said himself. And in most cases, it don't look like that he believes in God. He actually believes that he is a God himself. And that happens with a lot of celebrities. And that's why I say you got to be, success may elevate you above man, but not above God. See, because success, if you get a certain amount of success, when you've been so successful, one of the things that success can do to you, and the reason why I wanted to make this a point, success can make you delusional. I mean, it can actually make you delusional. It can actually make you think, because think about it. You know, look at these celebrities, what we call them, stars. Look how we treat them. We worship them. You know what I'm saying? You got people that hang out in their bushes, hang out for hours around restaurants and things just to get snap a picture of these people. You see what I'm saying? You got, I remember when the Prince Harry or whichever one of them princes over in England had got married, and he finally chose his wife and they had kids. And I mean, it was all over the news. You You know what I'm saying? Because of who they were and whichever the one, I can't think of which one it is because I didn't pay attention to it. But people was obsessed with when this guy got married. They know his wife, who his wife was, and when they had the first kid, what they were gonna name the kid. I mean, it was a whole big deal. I mean, it's people starving and dying and going to hell, and people was worried about who this man was going, and this man and woman, who they were gonna name their baby. So when you got stuff like that. And you got people, part of my friends kissing your butt every day and worshiping you like you're a god. You start to tend to believe that. That's why you see the way celebrities treat people so bad. How many horror stories have you heard about the way celebrities treat people when they go into restaurants and things of that nature? Why? Because they're delusional. Because they've been so successful that they've come to believe that they're a god. That's why I don't like people like Jay-Z and other celebrities like him that think they're a god. You know what I'm saying? It makes you so delusional, even within the ministry. You know what I'm saying? Even people within the ministry and within the churches. That's how a lot of cults get started. You know, it started off all sweet and innocent enough, but then they start getting people following them, and you know, and that's why I always tell y'all, I appreciate y'all for being here, especially y'all here on the holiday. You know what I'm saying? Y'all faithful, and some of y'all out here that's really faithful. You're here every week, you're watching my videos, and I appreciate that. But I'll tell y'all, long as I'm still, preaching truth. How you doing, Miss Tanya? See, you done came in here. I appreciate you being here. You know what I'm saying? As long as I'm preaching these truths and I'm giving y'all the word of God, yes, it's cool to look at, to watch the videos and be faithful. But the moment y'all see me going in a different direction, man, leave me alone. Don't follow me as I follow Christ. But if y'all see that I'm no longer following Christ and I'm starting to bring in my own opinions and my own doctrine and things like that, man, y'all need to leave me alone. You know, and a lot of times what happens is we follow people and not Christ. That's why sometimes you see when the people be going to church, they be faithful in the church, and then the pastor end up doing something that's not pastorly like, so to speak, not Christian like, so to speak. And then next thing you know, instead of people just leaving that church, going to another church, what they do, they get out of church altogether. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that, oh yeah, I used to go to church all the time, but you know what I'm saying, my pastor did this and that and that, so I stopped going to church. Or, I know one guy I talked to, he wasn't saved because he's like, I remember, I'll never forget it. I was talking to this guy, he was in the trailer park, and he's like, he wasn't saved because his granddad was like a deacon in the church, and he saw how his granddad behaved on Sundays and as compared to how he behaved, during the rest of the week. And then he said one day he just questioned his granddad. He just had some questions. He didn't really understand the faith. And he asked his granddad about it. And I don't know what question he asked, but whatever he did made his granddad upset enough to where his granddad had slapped him. And he's like, that's why I'm not in church. So I know a guy that's an atheist I've been working with for years. About 6-7 years I've been working with this guy, trying to get him saved. And, and he said, and I asked him one day, we talked, and he said, man, my stepfather was a minister. And he said, and when he was at church, he was all holier than thou. When he was at home, he was a drunkard, and he beat on my mom and me. He said, so I was like, no, there can't be a God. If this man represents God, there can't be a God. See, so when it's instances like that, those people was following the men instead of following Christ himself. And see, and that's why cults get started, because they'll start off following Christ and they'll start off doing good, and then once they start getting that power, they start getting the notoriety. People start, worshiping them more than worshiping Christ. Then they start going astray, and that's how them cults get started. And see, and that's why these cults, you're like, man, how can people, do it? Because man, success will make you delusional. And that's why I said success may elevate you above man, but never above God. You know what I'm saying? And even with the man thing, it'll elevate you above man, but something, even with that aspect, you have to remember, the ground is even at Calvary. The ground is even at Calvary. So even if down here on this earth, you may be elevated, you might get this high position, you might get people that you know what I'm saying, that worship you or whatever, still, you still nothing in the eyes of God. You still know what did he say when Isaiah? He said, in the eyes of God, even our righteousness in the eyes of God is as filthy rags. So you got to understand the ground is even at Calvary. Like I said, I love this ministry. Y'all know I love this ministry. That's why I'm on here. Like I said, my folks right there, they out there partying. They got the grill going, all that. I'm here hanging out with y'all because I love doing this. But still, that don't mean I'm any more special than y'all are. I'm getting to heaven the same way y'all getting to heaven. And it's through faith in Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? It's not me doing these lessons. It's not my faithfulness to the Lost Sheep ministry. None of that stuff is going to give me to heaven. Now, it might give me some brownie points when I get there. I might get to heaven and I get to live on Jesus Street. You know what I'm saying? My mansion might be close to Jesus. I might get some brownie points, but that's not what's going to get me to heaven. You know what I'm saying? The ground is even at Calvary. So you have to remember that. And that's why when dealing with success, like I said, once you start to be successful, you gotta maintain you gotta stay humble. Because when you get so much success, it'll make you delusional. It'll start making you think you're something greater than you really are. I mean, look at the people like, I'm talking about Jay-Z and the other celebrities. Look at these billionaires like Bill Gates and George Soros and these guys. These guys are delusional. They are all about population control. We got to kill off, third of the population. Who are you to say that? Just because you got some money and, your company, everything basically now. And I can understand, again, Bill Gates, where he sits at, because, we basically, every computer, just about every computer, every piece of technology goes through his company, or, Microsoft has some kind of program written in it. So, his program, his success allow him to really kind of run the world, if you really think about it. You got this George Soros guy, and they're all about, population control and trying to kill off a certain amount of the population. Who are they? If God didn't want this many people here, he wouldn't let us have this many people be here. If God wanted, God has his ways of killing off the population. Have y'all not seen the plagues over the years? Not these man-made plagues like COVID and all that crap. I'm talking about real bona fide plagues over the years that has taken out a large majority of the population, the Black Plague and things like that. God has his way to the natural disasters, earthquakes and fires. God has his way of trimming the fat, so to speak, if he wants to. But these billionaires, because they make all this money and because their company has so much influence, they're delusional to feel that they have the right to make the decision on how many people should be on the earth. No, you don't. You're delusional. And that's what success will do to you. It will make you delusional. You know what I'm saying? Look at these doctors. Now that we advanced, back in the day, if you had diarrhea or a cold, that was like a death sentence. But now medicine has come so far that you got doctors that's able to perform surgeries and turn a man into a woman, so to speak. I ain't saying they can, because they can't. It's impossible. But you have doctors out there that says a man can be a woman. Go to school, get highly educated people that will argue you down. They have doctorates in this stuff, gender studies and things of that nature. You got doctors out there saying that there's more than two genders. No, there's male and female. That's it. There's nothing but male and female. But you got people out there now that truly wholeheartedly, with their whole heart, believe that a man can be a woman and a woman can be a man. Or you don't have to be neither. You know what I'm saying? There's people that actually have put out videos teaching kids. They even putting it in our cartoons now. Disney is bad about that. Disney is very bad about putting that crap in their cartoon, teaching our children that you don't have to. You can be a boy but still be a princess if you want to. Things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? There can be two moms or two dads, and that's normal. We're delusional because we've become so successful, and you don't see that delusion nowhere as much as you see it in America. And what do we say about America? America, greatest country ever lived. Look at the freedoms that we have. We have freedoms that no other country has enjoyed. The common people, now y'all heard me say this before. I don't care how broke you are in America. I don't care how bad your situation is in America. You go to any other country and you'd be like, man, I'm living a dream. I don't care if you a wino sleeping on the bridge somewhere in a tent somewhere. You still living better than most people in most foreign countries, especially in third world countries and stuff like that. So I say that to say that America has become very successful. And because of this success, we become delusional. So now you got people saying that a man can be a woman and a woman can be a man. That's delusional. You see what I'm saying? You got to understand that. That's important for you to understand that. And that's why I say success may elevate you above man, but never above God. Because that's when God the Bible clearly say he made a man and woman. When God is clearly said there's only two genders, he didn't say there's a gender, non-binary. The Bible don't talk about that. But you got doctors and professors and all these people saying that you can be a man can be a woman can be a man. There's more than two genders. Now there's like hundreds of genders, if I'm not mistaken. There's all kind of foolishness they're coming up with. Why? Because our success has made us delusional, and now we're putting ourselves above God to where we feel we have to say so. You know what I'm saying? Bill Gates and George Soros feel they have to say so how many people there should be alive. You know what I'm saying? These doctors think they had a say so of what a woman or a man should be, what should be considered a woman and a man, when the Lord has already clearly outlined what that is in the Bible. See, we're delusional, and you got to understand that that's what success will do. It'll make you delusional. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the Bible, these people in the Bible, they weren't delusional. They knew. You remember when John, there was I don't know exactly where it's at, but there was a point when Jesus was talking about John the Baptist. You know, like I told y'all, yes, I love this ministry. I love the Lord, the way the Lord uses me. I love the work that I'm able to do. But I still remember I'm only able to do it because of the grace of God. You know, and Jesus was talking about that. He was talking about John the Baptist one time, and he was preaching. He was talking about John the Baptist. He said, look at John the Baptist. He said, in the eyes of man, he's John the Baptist, the greatest man that ever walked this earth. He said, Jesus himself said that about John the Baptist. He said, John the Baptist is the greatest man that ever walked this earth. He said, but in heaven, he's no better than anybody else. Now, he said, matter of fact, on earth, he's the greatest man that ever walked this earth. But in heaven, he's probably the least of the servants that's in heaven. See what I'm saying? Because he wasn't delusional. He wasn't delusional. John the Baptist wasn't delusional. Matter of fact, you remember when Jesus approached John the Baptist was one of the only people that knew who Jesus really was. And you remember when Jesus approached John the Baptist, he said, man, whoa. I don't need to be baptized. You need to be baptizing me. You're like, man, I'm not even worthy to tie. You know, matter of fact, when John the Baptist was talking about Jesus, he said, man, there's one coming, that's coming soon that I'm not even worthy to untie his shoes. I'm not even worthy to take his shoes off his feet. You know, why? Because even though John the Baptist was successful, even though he was had a high success, he had a huge following, he wasn't delusional because he was humble. He kept it within the will of God. He knew the only reason why he was doing what he was doing because God had gave him the power to do that. And that's why Jesus said, on earth, John the Baptist is the greatest man that ever lived. He said, but in heaven, he's nothing. He'll be the lowest of the people in heaven, but when he's on earth, he's the highest of anybody. So you got to remember that when you start to be successful, when your success start to climb, when your status start to grow, yes, it might get you above men, but it never get you above God. And you got to make sure you remember that. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all, sometimes, I can't lie to y'all, man. Sometimes I feel special. I do. I don't know, what God got in store for me. I feel like he got something big in store for me. I don't know what it is. And I do feel special. You know what I'm saying? Because and not because I'm just so great, I'm so awesome. None of that. It's just because God, I can see his hand in my life, and I see his hand in my life every single day. He's always showing up and letting these big things happen to me and using me to do these big things that help influence people and change people's lives. So I feel special, but I don't feel no more special than anybody else. I know the only reason why, yes, I feel special because of his favor, but I understand it's only because of his favor. It's not because nothing I'm doing. It's not because I'm so smart. It's not because I'm so wise. It's simply because I'm doing his will, and therefore he's giving me his favor. That's why I always say whenever, y'all people in my ministry, y'all heard me say it before. The same things I'm doing now, y'all can be doing. Matter of fact, the same thing I'm doing now, y'all should be doing. You just got to make the same decision that I made to give your whole heart to God. When I was going to jail, that was one of the main things I always told the guys in jail. That was one of the main things I told them. I told them, like, man, look, I was one bad decision away from being where y'all are. And I'm saying, and y'all are only one good decision away from being where I'm at, doing the same thing I'm doing. I'm like, the only reason I'm able to do this is because of the grace of God, and that's it. Because of the favor of God, that's it. But I can understand how people can get delusional. Because like I said, some days, y'all, I feel special. I'm like, man, I'm like king of the world. But then I have my days too where I feel like I ain't crap. You know what I'm saying? I go back and forth. But I do have them days, them days. I'm like, man, when things are just working out and God is just really using me and he put me in all these miraculous situations and bring me out of it. I'm like, man, God, I might be like Jesus' cousin or something. Like I really do feel special. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not delusional enough to think that I'm better than Chris, you know what I'm saying, or Miss Tanya or Miss Alicia that's on here. I'm not that delusional. I know when we get to Calvary, all of us still gonna be judged. All of us is still gonna have to go through that door called death. All of us are still gonna get into heaven the same way, and it's only by the grace of God. And I make sure I remember that. You know what I'm saying? I make sure I remember that I'm getting to heaven no matter how much I preach, no matter how much I read my Bible, no matter how much I pray. I'm getting to heaven the same way y'all getting to heaven. By hearing the gospel, understanding it, and making a decision to accept Jesus Christ as my Savior. That's the only way I'm getting to heaven. There's no special treatment for me. You know what I'm saying? And I've already made the decision, but had I not made the decision, me doing all this preaching and teaching and leading lost sheep is not going to get me to heaven. I got to get to heaven the same way y'all get to heaven, and that's by hearing the gospel, understanding, and accepting Jesus Christ as my Savior. So be careful once you start becoming successful and don't become delusional. That's why I say that when you see these celebrities and the way they treat people and they have the nerve to call themselves Jehovah and things like that, they are delusional. When you see these doctors saying that there's more than two genders, they are delusional. When you see these billionaires saying, these billionaires and these world leaders saying that, hey, we need to kill off a certain amount of the population, they are delusional. They've been elevated so far in the eyes of man that now they're thinking they're becoming God, and that's not true. So number 4, success may elevate you above man. Like I said, you look at this world, there's some people elevated above man. People even want to put me in that bracket at time. But even though it elevates you above man, it will never elevate you above God. And you have to remember that. Matter of fact, you won't even come close to even closely get into the level of what God is. Not only will it not, it won't even get you even with God. I should have reworded that. Now I think about it, it's not going to even get you close to God's status. It might get you, I don't care how above man you get, you will never even be close to God. Because like I said in Isaiah, he said, even our righteousness is as filthy rags. So I don't care how you get elevated in this world, you will never get elevated enough to where you're contending with God. It just ain't going to happen. And you got to remember that. Don't let that success go to your brain. That's why, we talked about letting success go to your brain. You forgetting the Lord and forget all you went through that he brought you to. Don't let it go to your brain and making you think you're somebody more important or bigger than what you really are. Because those things right there, when you're not humble and you start going in that path, that's what's going to lead to your destruction. So number 4, first point of the night, success may elevate you above man, but never above God. The ground is even at Calvary. You know what I'm saying? It can make you delusional, so remember that. Just remember, I don't care how good you did. I don't know how much soul winning you did. I don't care about none of that. We all get to heaven the same way as by hearing God's word, believing God's word, and accepting Jesus Christ your Savior. So number 4, success may elevate you above man, but never, never, ever, ever above God. So number 5, next point, it says this. So next verse, kind of the end of verse 24 and on to verse 25, it says this. He says, he said, all the people shouted, long live the king. Then Samuel told the people what the rights and duties of the king were. He wrote them down on a scroll and placed it before the Lord. And then Samuel sent the people home again. So number 5, this is something else that you got to understand about success. And this is a lot of time what people are afraid of. This one right here is really what a lot of people are afraid of. And this was kind of keeps them away from success. And I kind of misquoted, took this quote a little bit from Spider-Man, but changed a little bit. But number 5 is this. With great success comes great responsibility. So if any of y'all watch Spider-Man, probably after them, you know what I'm talking about. There was a famous line in that movie where Uncle Ben was talking to Spider-Man, and he told him right before he got killed, he said, with great power comes great responsibility. And I just changed it up. With great success comes great responsibility. And that's true. You know what I'm saying? When God, some people don't understand because we're selfish in nature. Just human nature itself is selfish. When God gives you success, when God makes you successful, especially when he is wild and successful, he didn't give you that just so you can start taking care of yourself and just enjoying, just indulging yourself in all the pleasures of life. When God gives you success, you're supposed to use it to help others. Everybody ain't going to be successful. We're always going to have the weak ones in society, so to speak. We're always going to have the ones that are not as strong as successful ones. I remember, if y'all know my testimony, y'all remember I told you that's one thing my grandma told me about my brother, and that's how I ended up taking my brother into custody. My grandma told me, she said, look, he's not as smart as you, he's not as wise as you, he's not as strong as you, he's going to need your help. So she told me, she said, promise you that everything that I've done for you, just promise me that when he needs your help, that you'll be there for him. And I did. I said, I promise Grandma, you know what I'm saying, if he need my help, I'll be there for him. And lo and behold, a little bit after she died, situation came up where, I was in a position to help him because his dad kicked him out. He didn't have nowhere to go. So I legally adopted him, even though I was only like 21 years old, I legally adopted my 15-year-old brother. No, I was 20 years old because we were only 5 years apart. So when I was 20, I legally adopted my 15-year-old brother. Why? Because I had the ability to do so. I didn't think they were going to give them to me, but apparently the judge liked what they saw and they gave them to me. And I was end up adopting my brother. And I will tell you, my life kind of went the wrong way. And it was a harsher life for me because I took on that task of helping him out. My life probably went in a completely different direction had I never brought him up. And, you know what I'm saying? Because I went through a lot of stuff. Y'all heard my testimony. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I went through a lot of stuff and I actually went in the wrong direction because I brought him up. But at the same time, we know how God works. And had I not brought him up, I might not be the man that I am today. I wouldn't be preaching to y'all today. So it all worked together for good in the end, like Romans 8:28 says. But man, it was a lot rougher because, you know what I'm saying? I could have been a lot more selfish and I could have just lived for myself and my life would have went great. You know what I'm saying? My son said that to me one time because, you know, we get by. We're not broke, but we're not rich. We get by, you know. And I remember my son said to me one time because since we moved here, since I've had this job that I have now, we've been up here 9 years, and so far we've had someone that wasn't from my loins or in our family staying with us pretty much the entire 9 years we've been here. We've been taking care of basically somebody else's kid or responsibility since we've been here. And I remember my son was talking one day. He said, Dad, he said, man, if you want to keep on, and he was joking. He wasn't saying it in a mean way, but he was just like, man, if you want to always take it in straight, hell, we'll probably be rich by now. You know what I'm saying? You know, and a lot of people had it like, why is it, you know, it's not your responsibility to take care of these. Like right now, I got, like I said, when I was 20, I adopted my younger brother that was 5 years old and younger than me. And now I have custody. I have about 6 years ago, I adopted my younger brother. I got a younger brother that's the same age as my youngest daughter. I legally adopted him. I've been raising him for the last 6 years. You know what I'm saying? People ask me like, it's not your responsibility to take care of these people. I know it's not, but God has given me the power to be able to do so. He put me in a position of success so I can do so. So that's why I do it. Because I've told y'all before, the only reason why I am where I am today is because there was times in my life where I was either going astray or I needed some help. And God always put somebody there to help me out. He's always put somebody there that was more successful than me to help me get to where I'm at. So I'm just really returning the favor. You know what I'm saying? By not being selfish and doing so. And that's what you got to understand. When God gives you power, when he gives you a certain strength, when he gives you a certain talent, when he gives you a certain ability, it's not just for you to make yourself the big fat cat and you sit back and impress others. It's for you to go and help others that are weak. We're always going to help weak people in our society. You know what I'm saying? And some of it is intentional. They just refuse to make, good decisions. They refuse to humble themselves and come to the Lord, whatever. And some of them is is their own doing. You know, I talk to people a lot. And one thing I say, a lot of the problems that I try to help people with, a lot of the situation that I try to help people get out of them is situations they put themselves in. They made the decision to put themselves there, but still, that's not me. If God put me, if they need the help, and especially if they try to get back to the Lord, and God put me in a position to be able to help them, then it's my job to help them. It's not my job to judge them and how they got there. And the Lord to put me in a position to help them, then it's my job to help them. That's why he gave me that position. That's why he gave me that power. And you got to understand that. You know what I'm saying? It's not for you to just, you know what I'm saying, not just for you to make yourself the fat cat. It's for you to help others in your world as well. You know what I'm saying? And something I've noticed when you see this a lot when people get successful, you've seen those celebrities that fell off. You know, it's like, man, they was wild and successful. Then all of a sudden they fall off. Why? What happened? 9 times out of 10 because they wasn't using their success to help others. They was only using their success to build themselves up. And I've noticed that when you God give you something, a gift, whatever it is, success, whatever it is, and he gives you that, and you don't use it to help others, 9 times out of 10, he'll take it back away from you. And just like those people were that you're supposed to be helping, then you end up in their same situation. I've noticed that. That's why I say when God gives you a gift, it's to help others. One of my favorite rappers said this, and he was kind of bragging, so to speak. But he said this. He said, you know what I'm saying? One of my favorite rappers, J. Cole, in my top 5, definitely. But he said he was talking about how he said all your people eating off of you. He said, but all my people feeding themselves. He said, see, all your people eating off you, but all my people feeding themselves. In other words, what he's saying, I strengthened my people. I took the power and the resources that God has given me, and I shared it with my people, and I didn't just give it to them. So, you know what I'm saying? So they depend on me. I showed them how to get to where I'm at. See, that's what I'm doing with this ministry, y'all. When I'm with this ministry as a minister, that's why I get on here and I do these videos. I'm trying to teach y'all the way I think. I try to teach y'all the way I believe, you know what I'm saying, the way I operate. And I hope y'all will hear it and soak it up and use it to apply to yourself so you can be just as successful as I am. You know what I'm saying? I would love for all of y'all to have y'all own little Facebook videos where y'all get on here and share the word of God. I would love that. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I hate to lose you, but I would love that. Because that's what you're supposed to do. When you receive power, you're supposed to use that power not to do. And see, that's what people, you know, us humans, we're all about power. That's why people want money. Because they believe money bring them power. You know what I'm saying? We all want power. But you got to understand true power. You know what I'm saying? Being able to have true power, to be a truly powerful person. Being a truly powerful person is not being so powerful enough to where you oppress everybody and lord your power over them. Having true power is when you take that power and you use your power to strengthen others. When you use that wisdom you got, that intelligence you got, that talent you got to build others up. That's true power. Bringing other people up with y'all. You know what I'm saying? With you. That's when you have true power. If you just got power and you just use it to oppress others and to tear others down and things like that, that's not true power. That's actually weakness. And 9 times out of 10, that is not going to last. True power, when you have true power and you have a humble heart, you're going to use that power to elevate everybody around you. You know what I'm saying? People around you, even if they started out as losers or whatever they were, people around you, if you have true power and true success, the people around you should be successful as well. Not because you just gave them a handout and made them successful, but because you taught them what they need to know. You shared your strength with them. You shared your wisdom with them. You shared your talent with them and taught them how they can become successful as well. That's why I say I love that line from Coach J. Cole. He said, all your folks are eating off you. He said, but my folks are feeding themselves. See, at one point they probably would. They started off, but he showed them how to get their own hustle so they can make their own money. Because that's what true power does. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You see what I'm saying? That's what you're supposed to be doing. Like as a minister, my goal is to help y'all get physically, spiritually strong so y'all can have the same close relationship with the Lord that I feel I have. You know what I'm saying? As a parent, if you're a parent, your goal as a parent is to use all the knowledge and the skills and the talent that you've acquired over your years and passing down to your kids to teach them how to avoid the pitfall, the same pitfall that you fell into. To teach them the mindset they need to have so they can be successful and have that close relationship with God. Now, anybody that's a parent, they don't always listen. They don't always listen. Sometimes, a lot of times, they often reject it. But your goal, your job is to build them up so they can be successful as well, so they can maintain and be able to live and have a successful life in this world as well. You know what I'm saying? As a supervisor, it's a job. You know what I'm saying? I recently became a supervisor where I actually have somebody that worked under me. So I do everything I can to teach her what she needs to know so she should be successful. I remember this one guy told me, he said, man, don't teach her everything, you know what I'm saying, because she might mess around and take your job. I don't worry about that. If she take my job, then it was hers for the taking. That means I slipped up somewhere. You know what I'm saying? But I do want her to know everything she need to know, everything that I know, and everything she need to know so she can be successful. So if the time comes and she need to back me up or take over for me, she can do so. You know what I'm saying? That's my job as a supervisor, to build her up, not to keep her down, not to keep information away from her so she can't be as successful as I am. It's to give her the information that I've gathered, the experience that I've gathered over the years, so she can be just as successful as I am. That's true power. You see what I'm saying? So you got to understand that with that power comes great responsibility. We see several examples of that in the Bible. Y'all know one of my favorite stories is Daniel. If y'all remember Daniel, he had his brothers Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You know what I'm saying? One of the things he did when he started to get elevated, he was faithful to the Lord. And, and the king started elevating him because of his faithfulness to the Lord. And you notice every time Daniel got elevated, his brothers got elevated as well. Just as he was going up in position, his brothers was going up in position. That's what you're supposed to do with power. You're supposed to bring those up with you. Joseph and his brothers. You know what I'm saying? He didn't use his power, even though his brothers did him dirty, even though they did him wrong. He didn't use his power to lord it over them and torture them and beat them. Now, he did have a little point where he was kind of messing with them a little bit, but that wasn't torture. He wasn't lording it over there. He wasn't having fun with them. He was actually testing them to see were they now worthy of the power that he was going to bestow upon them. Was they even worthy of being saved? Because, 20 years before this, they came to him and he was like the ruler of the land. They were so jealous of him that they sold him into slavery. Went back and told their dad that he died. So he wanted to make sure they were worthy of his help. He wanted to make sure they was worthy of his strength. He wanted to make sure they was worthy of this power and this help that he was going to give them. That's why he did that. He didn't do that to lord it over them. He just wanted to make sure that was worthy. But what did he do? Once they showed that they truly was worthy and they truly had changed their heart, what did he do? He brought them in and saved his whole family. He was able to save his whole family. Told his brother exactly what to do to get the best land that was left in Egypt, because most of the land of Egypt was desolate. He said, "Hey, tell the king this. If you tell the king this, he's gonna know they don't like what's that, herdsmen or whatever." He said, "So if you tell the king this, he's gonna give you this piece of land, and it's the good land." You know what I'm saying? He told them exactly what they need to do, but he wanted to make sure they were worthy first. But see, again, it goes back to my point. With great success comes great responsibility. And that's why a lot of people step away from success. I can't tell you how many people I've heard that, like, oh man, they want to promote me, but I don't want to do it. I don't want the responsibility that comes along with it. See what I'm saying? They're scared of their responsibility. So instead of them going forward and being successful and taking on their responsibility, being the man or the woman they are and taking on their responsibility, they shy away from it. And they end up living their life of mediocrity because they don't want the responsibility. But that's something you do have to understand. If you praying to God, asking God to show you His will, asking God to elevate you, asking God to make you successful, just know that when He does, there's going to be a lot of responsibility that's going to come along with it. So you got to be prepared for that as well. You know what I'm saying? Other examples from the Bible, Mordecai and Esther. Y'all remember this guy Mordecai? He's kind of around the same time as Daniel, or maybe a little bit after Daniel. But you remember, they were still captives at this time, and he was just faithful to the Lord. And because of this faithfulness, the king kept on elevating him. You know what I'm saying? And this guy named Haman was upset and jealous of him. Matter of fact, they're going to come up again later, but he was jealous of him. But this guy stayed faithful. And he ended up being elevated up to like the second highest position in the nation. His daughter, which wasn't really his daughter, I think she was his niece, but he was taking care of her like a daughter. She ended up becoming the queen of the land of Babylon. You know what I'm saying? He became the second most powerful man, official in the land of Babylon. And if you read the story, what did he do? As he came up, he says they appointed several Israelites to different offices and made them officials in the land of Babylon. Why? Because of that power they had the power to do so. You know what I'm saying? So not only did they raise themselves up, they brought them people up, their people up with them. And that's what you're supposed to do with success. That's what you're supposed to do with power. That's why you see, again, these celebrities that's drugged out and cracked out and alcoholed out and rehabbed out. Why? Because they got the success. They got the success, but they use the success for themselves. They use the success to indulge in the debauchery that comes along with success in this world. You know what I'm saying? Instead of using their success to build other people up, to bring other people up, to elevate other people, they use it for themselves and they end up losing it. A lot of them losing it. I mean, we see time and time again. I can go through a whole list of people that was once on top and now they're on the bottom. You don't even hear about them no more. Most of them some are dead, some are in jail, or some of them just broke. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because they got the success, and instead of using their success and that power that was granted to build others up and bring others up, they only used it for themselves and they end up losing it. So number 5, got to understand that, again, once you start becoming successful, once you start getting, the Lord start using you and He makes your ministry successful or your business successful or whatever it is, remember, with that success comes great responsibility. There's other people that's relying on you, doing what you're supposed to be doing in the eyes of God, to bring them up, sharing your strength and your talent with them, to elevate them as well, so they may also be able to serve the Lord just as you do. So number 5, with great success comes great responsibility. And again, we saw where it says, you know what I'm saying, Samuel basically laid out, told them this is going to be your responsibilities. This is what you got to do. And he wrote them down so they can remember them. So he gave them like, hey, all right, you become a king now. You're the first king. Again, that's why Saul didn't really want to take the position, because he had the pressure of being the very first king of Israel. But he's like, all right, you want to be the first king? You know what I'm saying? Well, you didn't want to be the first king. God is making you the first king. This is what you're going to be responsible for. These are the things you got to do. Make sure you get them done. So number 5, with great success, if you want success, if you praying for success, you want your business to be successful, you want your ministry to be successful, whatever it is, and you praying for, that's good. Just know that when it does come, there's going to be a mountain of responsibility that's going to come along with it as well. So be prepared for that. So number 5, with great success comes great responsibilities. So number 6, the next point, verse 26, it says, now when Saul returned to his home at Geba, a band of men whose hearts God had touched became his constant companions. And y'all have heard me preach on this one before. Y'all heard me preach on this before, but this right here is very vital to not only once you become, and of course this is after you become, because this song, he's got crowned, he's been officially made king. So now this is something that's vital for him in order to remain successful. So number 6 is this: to remain successful, surround yourself with like-hearted people. Now you notice I didn't say like-minded people. I said like-hearted people. You know what I'm saying? Like-minded and like-hearted is two different things. You know what I'm saying? You like-minded, like y'all believe the same, you know what I'm saying? And y'all believe the same, you know what I'm saying? Like the same movies and things that's cool. But like-hearted, where's your heart at? You know what I'm saying? Is your heart with doing the things of God, or is your heart just doing the things of this world? That's why I said, what are their intentions? What are their priorities? You know what I'm saying? I surround myself, and I talk with people. I get advice from people whose heart is given to serving the Lord. That's what I'm talking about when I say like-hearted. What are they heart? What are they priorities? You know, I told y'all I'm the same John I've always been, but my priority has changed over the years. My priority now, when I wake up in the morning, I can't wait to tell somebody about the Lord. I can't wait to go out soul winning. I can't wait to go do things, you know what I'm saying, do things for God. I couldn't wait, even though I know it was a holiday today. I've been excited about getting to do this lesson. I was hoping some people going to be in here, and I actually got more people in here than I thought would be here. You know what I'm saying? But, you know what I'm saying, I get excited about things like that because that's my priority. Yes, I got the plate waiting on me, you know what I'm saying, and I'm going to go mess it up soon as this lesson is over. I'm going to get my plate, and I'm going to have it. But my priority is doing what I'm doing right now, sharing this word with you guys. So that's why I say, when I say like-hearted people, not like-minded people, because like-minded people can, y'all think alike, but their heart is not in the right place. You want to get to somewhere where the people's hearts matches yours. They have an intensity and an urgency and a priority for the things of God just as you do. That's what I mean when I say like-hearted people. You know what I'm saying? Because you notice what he said. It says, when he returned home, he said a band of men whose hearts God had touched became his constant companions. See, because God changed their heart. So just like Saul's heart got changed to doing the things of God and being a good servant of God, these men's heart was changed to do the same thing. So you got to understand that. Because the thing is, birds of a feather flock together. That's why the word's always talking about separation. That's why Paul talked a lot about separation. That's why y'all heard me talk about separation. Not because you're better than anybody else. Not because you got, like we were talking about in the last one of the other points, and point number 4, because you've elevated above man. No, you got to separate because birds of a feather flock together. So if you're going to be successful, you got to be around successful people. You got to be around, if you're going to be successful, especially in things of God, you got to be around like-hearted people. And that's what the Lord did. He took whatever foolish people from away from him and put like-hearted people in. Some people that had the kingdom of God as priority, just as Saul had in the beginning. You see what I'm saying? You got to understand. Because some I've noticed, when I talk about the separation, and I talk about the separation things that nature, but some I've noticed, and I was actually talking to a friend of mine today, one of my close friends, one of my council of the elders. We had a good conversation today. But I noticed the older I get, the smaller my circle get. You know, the older I get, the less I hang out. And it ain't because I'm just old, too tired. It's just, you know, I see the nonsense in a lot of it. I see the nonsense involved in a lot of people I hang out. I weed people out of my life now. Because like I said, I'm looking for people who has the same heart that I have, whose intention and priority is the same as mine, whose main goal, whose main purpose is to just serve the word of the Lord. And you don't find a lot of those. Those people are few and far in between. So notice that as I get older and I get wiser, my circle gets smaller. Because of that, again, not because I'm better than these people, I'm leaving these people behind. It's just that I want to be around like-hearted people. I want to be around people that want to hear the word of the Lord just as much as I do, who want to serve the Lord just as much as I do. That's why my circle is getting smaller, because you don't find a lot of people like that. You know what I'm saying? Because something you got to understand, and again, especially with dealing with success, the people around you have a huge impact on how successful you're going to be. You know what I'm saying? Either how successful you're going to be or how successful you can become. You know what I'm saying? Because you might become, again, successful. You might become successful right off top. But then if you get that success and you surround your people with the wrong people, then guess what? You're going to end up losing that success. Because again, the people around you have a huge influence. That's why, again, it said he touched a band of men whose heart God had touched became his constant companions. God had to put people around him with the right heart, because if not, it was going to stifle him. It was going to keep him from being as successful as he can be. That's one thing I tell, like, when I talk to my son about the women and things like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, it's very important when you choose the woman that you're going to be with, because you get with the right woman, and man, she will elevate you. Honestly, and this is my personal opinion, I don't think any man will ever be able to reach his full potential without a good woman behind him pushing him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not being a feminist, none of that. Without a good woman pushing him, a good woman at his side pushing him, I don't care how successful he is. He can be very successful. But even with the success he does have, if he had a good woman behind him that was motivating him and pushing him, he could have been even more successful. It's very important. But at the same breath, you get with the wrong woman and she would take you out, and she would tear you down. You know what I'm saying? We've seen that happen so much. So you gotta watch. Not only with the success, all the praise and all that stuff that comes with success, you got to watch the new people that comes around all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? Check their hearts out. Make sure that their heart is in the right place, because the people that are around you are very vital. The people that are around, the people you surround yourself with, once you get to success, is going to determine the people around you. Like I said, I got it wrote down here. The people around you have a huge impact on your success or how successful you will become. You know what I'm saying? Keep your circle small. You got to keep your circle small. I mean, we got so many examples from that, from the Bible and worldly. I mean, worldly example, there's this guy that plays for the Memphis Grizzlies. This young kid, his name is Ja Morant. You know what I'm saying? Again, I don't watch ball at all, but I've heard it because it's all over Facebook and memes and stuff about him. But apparently, he's been doing stuff. He's been caught with a gun twice. You know what I'm saying? And from what I understand, he's from like a small little country town like what I live in right now, but yet he's out there trying to play gangster. Why? Because he probably got the wrong people around him. He don't have the right people around him that's telling him, hey, bro, if he had real friends, that's the one thing about my friend. My friends, and the reason why I call them friends, they had no problem to tell me when I was on some BS. You know what I'm saying? If I was on some BS, my friend, we had a group of guys called FIA, which was Friends in Action, is what we called it. And you know what I'm saying? And all of us, we kept each other in check. You know what I'm saying? We had no problem. Matter of fact, if it got bad enough, they'd call a session. You know what I'm saying? And you won't know about it. If you the victim, you won't know about it. They'd be like, hey man, let's come hang out like we normally do. And then you get there and the whole crew is there. And they all got on boots. And what they gonna do, if you not willing to listen to what's being said, they gonna put their foot in your butt. That's what they had the boots on for. You know what I'm saying? We kept each other accountable. And that's what real people should do. That's what people should do. The people around you should hold you accountable. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I'm a minister. I'm dad in the family, but my wife keeps me accountable. Even though I'm the leader of the family, if I get on some other stuff, she keeps me in check. You know what I'm saying? I have friends as a minister. I got my pastor. I got my cousins. I got what I call my spiritual mom and my spiritual dad that keeps me in check. That's what real friends are supposed to do. That's what successful people do. You're going to surround yourself with people that's going to help you maintain your success. This Ja Morant kid, you know what I'm saying? I don't know the kid personally. Don't know nothing about him. So again, I'm just speculating. But I would guarantee you that it's the people in his little circle that's not, instead of telling him, hey man, you don't need to do, this dude make $200 million a year. You know what I'm saying? In the NBA and riding around with guns and stuff, bro. You got to know, if you feel for protection, how are you a bodyguard? How are you an ex-cop or an ex-marine or something? You got $200 million. You got enough money to hire you a bodyguard where you're not walking around with guns on you getting yourself in trouble. But see, he got the wrong people in his circle. He got the wrong people in his ear. He don't have nobody. He probably feeding, like J. Cole said, he's probably one of those situations where everybody's eating off of him. So since they're eating off of him, they're afraid to check him and tell him, bro, this ain't something you need to be doing. You're going down the wrong path. You're going to get yourself in trouble. You're going to mess up this opportunity. You see what I'm saying? The people around you are important. You got to surround. I do not mess with fake people, bro. Like, I mean, I'm cordial. I say hello and all that. But as far as spending a significant amount of time, I do not mess with fake people, bro. I don't mess with yes men. I can't stand yes men. I can't stand none of that. I don't mess with fake people. And that's why I say my circle is small. You have to. You know what I'm saying? Look at another one, example of people y'all might know. No, Jay Moran, he's just a current one that's going on. But you look at what happened with Mike Vick and the whole dog fighting thing. You know what I'm saying? His people. This dude is making millions of dollars in the NFL. One of the coldest quarterbacks. I didn't say the greatest, but one of the coldest quarterbacks I've ever seen. I was a big Mike Vick fan. But yeah, he out there fighting dogs. You know what I'm saying? And the very people that was in his little circle or whatever was the ones that snitched on him. Got him in trouble, ruined his career. If there was some real people in the circle, man, they should have told, man, why are you doing this, bro? You got all this money. You can be doing anything. Why are you fighting dogs? You know what I'm saying? It ain't like he needed the money for it. Just being ignorant. Didn't have the right people in his circle. Another example, Aaron Hernandez. Excuse me, y'all. I don't know if y'all remember who that was, but he was a tight end for the New England Patriots. You know what I'm saying? I think he was in a couple of Super Bowls with Tom Brady and all that. Phenomenal football player. Out here being a gangster, killing folks. You know what I'm saying? This dude is in jail right now. No, he ended up killing himself. He ended up killing himself in jail. But man, he was in jail for murder. You know what I'm saying? Killing folks, riding around with guns on them, moving drugs and stuff like that. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Had all this success, but look where it went. It ended up with nothing. I don't know. And I think he tried to give I watched this little documentary on it. And I think they say he killed himself because if he killed himself before they, backed out his contract, his family could still get the money and all that. But I think somewhere they worked out, you know how these people do these contracts. They worked out where they still couldn't get something. I don't know the details of it, but had the wrong people, had he had the right people around him, he wouldn't have been in that situation. So that's why I say, especially with success, people gonna start flocking to you. People want to be around successful people. That's why you don't remember who won the third place in the Olympics. You only remember the first place winner and maybe the second place winner if it was a good enough match. Maybe it was it was a good enough match, whatever it was. You might remember number 2, but nobody remembers number 3. Nobody remember who got the bronze. Who cares? You see what I'm saying? People want to be around successful people. So the more successful you get, the more people are going to be around you. But you got to keep your circle small. I got another one. Allen Iverson. You know what I'm saying? Look at Allen Iverson. You know what I'm saying? He was a phenomenal basketball player. Never did get him a championship, phenomenal basketball player, but he was always having locker room problems. He was getting in trouble for drugs in the locker rooms and kind of stuff, things like that. And I think at one point he went broke because he was spending so much money on all his people. I was watching a documentary on him, and they were like, whatever city he went to, he even take clothes with him. He would just go shopping in that city, buy a whole new wardrobe, and then when they left, he just left the wardrobe in the hotel. Expensive clothes. You know what I'm saying? Had the right people been around him, man, he would probably still be paid. He would probably still have. And I don't know his finances now, but I know he ain't what he was. And I know at one point he filed bankruptcy and things of that nature because he was spending crazy. Didn't have the right people around him. So as your success increase, you know what I'm saying, your success increase, make sure the people that you have around you have the right heart. They are like-hearted people. Because if not, you will lose your success or you won't be able to be as successful as you could be. Keep your circle small. Think about it. Jesus preached to thousands of people that searched him out, was looking for him constantly. But yet, he only had 12 people in his circle. 12 disciples that was in his inner circle. And even though he only had 12 out of the 1,000, one of them still betrayed him. See what I'm saying? That should help you know right there. If God fell victim to having the wrong people around him, we definitely gonna fall victim to it. Just like he said, the student's not greater than the master. So if the master went through something, the student definitely gonna go through it. So you gotta understand that. Watch who you around. You know what I'm saying? Watch you keep your circle small. Because if you don't, then you won't be able to be as successful as you can be. You know what I'm saying? Let's take some Bible example. Let's look at Joshua and Achan. If y'all aren't familiar, because y'all don't read your Bible, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But y'all remember when Joshua finally took over for Moses, they had this great victory in Jericho. They had this great big victory. Y'all remember they walked around the walls of Jericho 7 times and the walls came crashing down. They went in, they took over Jericho. Even though the people of Jericho thought they'd never get conquered, they did. They had this great success. So after that, they went and fought this town called Ai, or Ai, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the word, but it's A and an I. So Ai, they went and fought this town called Ai, and they got their butts kicked. And it was it wasn't even nowhere as big as Jericho. And you know what I'm saying? So Joshua tore his clothes and he humbled himself like, Lord, what's going on? Why did we, you just give us this big victory and then you let us get our butt kicked by this little town? And what the Lord told him? There's somebody with you that's hard in the wrong place. there was this guy named Achan, because the Lord, when they got ready to go into Jericho, the Lord said, don't take nothing. He said, destroy everything, burn everything. It was, I think he said they can keep the gold or something like that, but he basically said, don't take anything. Like, kill everybody and burn everything. The only people that were supposed to be saved was the prostitute Rahab, because she protected the spies when they came. He said, but everybody else and everything else has to go. But what happened? This Achan guy, heart went in the right place. So when they went in the Jericho, it was some clothes he saw that he wanted and he stole it. It was some gold he saw that he wanted and he stole it. You know what I'm saying? And hid it in his tent. So when Israel went out to the next war, instead of having the same success that they had with Jericho, they got defeated. Why? Because there was somebody in there that hearts wasn't in the right place. And of course, it ended up turning out bad for him, because the Lord revealed to them, like, hey, this guy Achan, you know what I'm saying? Basically, this guy Achan stole some stuff and hid in his tent. And I told y'all not to touch that stuff. So since he's been disobedient, all of y'all are suffering. And then they brought the guy out, him and his whole family and everything he had, and they stoned his whole family to death, and they burnt the dude. So, I mean, it turned out bad for him. But my point is, because the Achan was with them and his heart was in the right place, they end up not being able to be as successful as they could have been, because they had the wrong people around them. Another example, Solomon's son, Rehoboam. You remember the nation of Israel, David, it was under Saul first. You know what I'm saying? It was all together under Saul. And then, of course, Saul, and we're going to get to it in the next couple of weeks, Saul ended up turning his back on the Lord, being disobedient to the Lord. So the Lord took the kingdom from Saul and gave it to David. And then David had the whole nation of Israel under him. And then Solomon took over. He had the whole nation of Israel under him. But toward the end of his life, he turned his heart away from the Lord. So when his son Rehoboam took over, the Lord ended up taking 10 of the tribes out of the hand of Solomon and giving them over to this guy named Jeroboam, son of Nebat, in Israel. But my point was, what happened? How did Rehoboam lose the kingdom? So what happened was, when Solomon died and Rehoboam became king, all the people came to him and was like, hey man, look, your dad was harsh. He had, made us work too hard. So I tell you what, if you take some of his, take away some of his work, his labor thing, and away, and be a little bit, nicer to us, we'll serve you. We'll be your people. And he was like, all right, give me 3 days. And then, give me 3 days and I'll come back and I give y'all my answer. So all the people went away. So 3 days later, they came. So over the 3 days, he went to the people that advised his father, the older men, and has said, hey man, how should I answer these people? And the older men told, like, man, if you listen to the people, relax some of the labor laws and everything, and just, be a little nicer to them, they'll serve you, they'll be faithful. So that was which was good advice. But then what happened? He went to some of his buddies, some of the younger men, the people that he grew up with, and he asked them, like, man, how should I answer these people? And they told him, man, tell them complainers that, that my daddy was harsh, but I'm going to be harsher. Tell them complainers that my daddy chastised them was whipped, but I'm going to use scorpions. And and that's what he did. Instead of listening to the old wise men, he listened to his young friends and went out there and told them it was talk harsh to the people. And the people like, man, F you, basically. They like, F you, and they turned their back and they never served under one of the descendants of David again. And it split the kingdom of Israel in half, and it stayed split for the remainder of time. You see what I'm saying? Why? He had the wrong people around him. It's very important. If you're going to remain successful, you got to surround yourself with like-hearted people. Because you got the wrong people around you giving you the wrong advice, they're going to guide you in the wrong direction, and you're going to lose whatever blessing that you had on your life. You know what I'm saying? A good example, think about Naaman. Y'all remember the story of Naaman the Syrian. If you read your Bible, there was this general, and he was, I think, the Philistines or Midianites. He was the enemy of Israel. He wasn't an Israelite, but was in a situation where he had leprosy. So, and he had a little servant girl, and the little servant girl was just like, hey, if he would go and see the man of God can heal him of his leprosy. You see what I'm saying? And of course, I can go belabor the story, but basically he went to the man of God. I think it was Elisha at the time. He went to Elisha. Elisha told him to go down and dip himself 7 times in the Jordan River and he'll be healed. And even with that, he got upset because he was like, man, I thought he was going to come out and wave his hand over me and do something spectacular. And he just want me to go dip in the river. What? I can go dip in the river at home. Why go to this nasty Jordan River? And then again, somebody in his crew was like, well, sir, if he had told you to do some great thing, would you not have went and done it? He said, so why not go and do this little simple thing he told you to do and maybe you be healed? So he listened had the right person in his crew. He listened and went and dunked himself down in the Jordan. And guess what? came back out, skin was brand new, like new again. He got healed. Why? Had the right people in his crew. First, it started with his little servant girl telling him to go to the man of God, and then it was somebody else in his crew that told him to listen to the man of God. See, he had the right people in his crew. So that's very important. Another story of Saul and his servant, which is what we're talking about now. We're talking about Saul. Y'all remember when they was out looking for the donkeys, what did his servant say? And when they couldn't find the donkeys, hey, let's go talk to the man of God. He might be able to tell us where the donkeys are at. And he did. He ended up going talking to the man of God. And not only did the man of God tell him where the donkeys was at, he also told him he's going to be king. He ended up crowning him king. So again, the people in your world are very vital. The people you have in your world, the women, that if you're a man, the woman you decide to join yourself with, if you're a woman, the man you decide to join yourself with, the friends you have in your life, all those people in your life, everybody in your life, everybody that you let in and out of your world, they all have an impact on whether you're going to be successful and how successful you're going to be. So make sure you remember that. That's why I say number 6 is this: to remain successful, surround yourself with like-hearted people. Making sure their hearts and their minds in the same place as you, so that way y'all can stay on the same, be on the same wavelength, go in the same direction, and have the same goal, and it is to be successful and do the work that the Lord has for you to do. So number 6, to remain successful, surround yourself with like-hearted people. What up, Doug? I appreciate you coming in, man. My buddy Doug, just ran into him yesterday. I appreciate you coming in here, buddy. So that was number 6. Number 6, to remain successful, surround yourself with like-hearted people. So then the next part of verse 26, it says this. No, this is actually verse 27. So it said, but there were some wicked men who complained, how can this man save us? And they despised him and refused to bring him gifts. Now, 2 things there I'm going to point out. It says, in this version, it says some wicked men, but in the King James Version, it called them sons of Belial. So whenever you read the Bible, if you read the King James and they call it sons of Belial, basically they're just low down, no good people. You know, and that's what he's called these men. He says some of these wicked men, and like I said, in the King James Version, it says these sons of Belial, the children of Belial. In other words, they call them children of the devil. There's wicked people, no good people. So that's one thing I want to point out. And 2, he said they said, but there were some wicked men who complained, how can this man save us? And they despised him and refused to bring him gifts. So they hating on him because of his success. Because this elevation that the Lord just gave him. And this is a little side note, but I want to read for y'all what they was going through, with the reason why they rejected him. So this is the kind of situation they was in. And this is just a little cliff note in my Bible. I want to read y'all, let y'all kind of know what was going on in the land and why it was so important that Saul was made king and be a good king that can defeat these people. So this is just a little cliff note in my Bible. It says this. It says, Nahash, king of the Ammonites, had been grievously oppressing the Gadites and the Reubenites who lived east of the Jordan River. He gouged out the right eye of each of the Israelites living there, and he didn't allow anyone to come and rescue them. In fact, of all the Israelites east of the Jordan, there wasn't a single one whose right eye Nahash had not gouged out. But there were 7,000 men who had escaped from the Ammonites, and they had settled in Jabesh Gilead. So they was in the situation on the people, because y'all remember they were supposed to stay on the west side of the Jordan, but you remember the half tribe Manasseh, I think it was Reuben and Gad. They all was like, oh man, this land over here is so good, we're gonna stay on the east side, and they was as far as away as they can be from the rest of the nation. So they was kind of on their own. So these Ammonite king came in, was oppressing them, and was gouging eyes out. So that's the kind of situation they was in, and they were saying, who is Saul? He can't rescue us from this guy. You know what I'm saying? We're going to see that Saul going to end up doing it when we get into the next chapter. He's going to end up doing it. And that's going to bring up another point later on. But that's what was going on. So that's why when Saul was made king, they didn't want to put their faith and trust in him. Like, man, who is this dude? He's weak. You know what I'm saying? They just start hating on who is he. And it says, what it says? It said they complained, how can this man save us? And they despised him and refused to bring him gifts. So that's going to take us to point number 7. This is another aspect of success. This is one that, you know what I'm saying, I worry about having to deal with, you know, when it comes to success. But number 7 is this. Number 7 is this. Success will bring praise and hatred. So be prepared to deal with the good and the bad. So that's something you got to understand with success. It's going to bring a lot of good into your life, but it's going to bring a lot of bad too. Because there's going to be some people that don't have faith in you. There's some people that ain't going to like you for whatever reason. Maybe just because you are black or white or Chinese or whatever. And people will find a reason to hate you. So you got to understand, the more successful you are, the more people are going to hate you. You know what I'm saying? Some I always told my son, because I had my youngest son, he was very successful as far as football is concerned and things, and he has the potential to be successful. Once he makes the mind up, he got the potential to be very successful. But some I've always taught him was this. I used to say this. I think he put it as his senior quote in his book. But I always told him, take praise and criticism and put them in the same trash can. I always told him that. I said, take praise and criticism and put them in the same trash can. Reason being is because when it comes to human beings, both of them are worthless. You know what I'm saying? Both of them are worthless. As much as people will praise you for being successful, as much as people will pat you on your back and they will elevate you, like we were talking about earlier, they'll elevate you up there to that status above, man. As much as you have people praising you become successful, you will have even more being willing and wanting to tear you down. I always told my son, I said, son, if you got 10 or 1 million people telling you how great you are and praising you, you probably have 5 million that can't wait for you to make a mistake and tear you down. And that's why I said that was always my hang up with being a minister and stuff, because I know I'm not perfect. I know I don't make the right decision every single time. And, and when you put yourself in a position like I am, when you make yourself a minister, well, I ain't made myself, I got called to be a minister. But when you accept that call to be a minister and to be in that leadership position, then people start watching you and they be looking for the moment that you slip so they can tear you down. You know what I'm saying? Because as much as people praise you for becoming successful, you know what I'm saying, they can't wait for you to make that mistake. And again, this is something that we've seen time and time again. I think about like Britney Spears. You know, man, when she first came out, everybody loved Britney. Oops, I did it again and all that. I mean, for years they praised her. And then what happened? She started, making some bad decisions, started doing some crazy stuff. And, you know what I'm saying, you couldn't pick up a paper or cut on the TV and see anything about her. And then they would talk about how crazy she was and how terrible she was. You remember, matter of fact, she had got so bad that her dad basically had to take conservatorship over her and take control of her life. And she had to end up fighting here recently, had to fight to try to get out from under that conservatorship because her daddy had complete control of her life because she had went so far away. You know what I'm saying? Start doing crazy stuff. That's what happened with success. She fell into what we were talking about earlier, the delusions that come with success, and started just doing what she wanted to do. And people are like, oh man, she crazy. She done lost it. And her daddy got to a point, like I said, her daddy had to take control of her life, basically. Another one, Michael Jackson. Remember, he started out, look how successful he was from a kid. I mean, from like a 5-year-old kid. You got to think about his entire life. I think he died when he was 50. So his entire life, he was basically spent in the spotlight. That's a lot of pressure. You know what I'm saying? And people call him the greatest entertainers of all time and the greatest this and greatest that. And the moment you get some kind of title, you know what I'm saying? The moment you get that the greatest title, the sexiest man alive or the sexiest woman alive or the greatest, the moment you get that title, you're going to have people try to put you in a situation to prove that you ain't that. That's something that comes along with success. You know what I'm saying? I thought about, Michael Jackson, people loved him, but then when the allegation about the kids came out, look how many people, matter of fact, 50 years from now, I think he's going to be more remembered for the whole child molestation thing than it will be for the influence that he had on pop culture. And the crazy part about it was he never did get proved guilty. It never was proven guilty. They settled or whatever, but he was never proven guilty. They never came out with a guilty version. He never had to go to the jail over the stuff. But yet that's what people are going to remember. Why? Because people are attracted to the negative. That negative, they love to praise you, but they love to tear you down more. And you got to remember that as you become successful. So that's why I always told my son, man, take criticism and take praises and criticism and put them in the same trash can. And I can go on and on. Another one, Mike Vick, we talked about that earlier. When he was on the field doing his thing, people loved him. And then we became, known for killing dogs. That's how they know him. Even to this day. You think Mike Vick, anytime somebody bring up a joke or crack a joke about killing dogs or something, Mike Vick name is somewhere in the mix. You see what I'm saying? Mike Tyson. Look what happened to Mike Tyson. Started off the youngest, most brutal champion ever. I love me some Mike Tyson. Matter of fact, I haven't watched boxing since he stopped boxing. Love me some Mike Tyson. But man, when he went, got them rape allegations and all that stuff, His career went all the way down, and he really hadn't never fully recovered since. Now, Mike, he's still doing his thing. Mike still, but his boxing career never really fully recovered from when he had that situation with that woman. You know what I'm saying? And even to this day, people still look at him as a rapist. There's some people right now and they believe him as a rapist. Even though, I mean, he did get charged and he, you know what I'm saying, was found guilty, but I mean, he maintained his innocence. And we don't know what happened between him and that girl. We don't know her story and his story. You know what I'm saying? But either way it go, whether he was innocent or not, there's a lot of people that is already condemned. He was already condemned in the court of public opinion, and therefore he's guilty. The same people that was praising him, all right, Mike, were the same people now that's calling him a rapist. The same with, who else I got wrote down there? The same with Bill Cosby. You know what I'm saying? The same with R. Kelly. Any of those guys, throw them in there. You know, I know the NBA Finals is going on there in the championship. You know what I'm saying? People give LeBron James a lot of flack. You know what I'm saying? When he's winning championships and all that, he's the king. You know what I'm saying? But the moment, like, they just got swept in the finals, the LA Lakers got swept. And man, that's all I saw was memes talking about, oh, Michael Jordan would never, or Kobe would never. You know what I'm saying? All they talk about is how bad how bad they did and the fact that they got swept. You see what I'm saying? So you got to be careful that that comes along with the territory. You know what I'm saying? Success is going to bring praise, but it's going to bring hatred as well. You know, we look at biblical terms. Look at Jesus. Y'all remember right before the crucifixion when Jesus came into the town. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was praying, oh, Hosanna, Hosanna. People was putting their coats down. You know, he was riding on a donkey and people was putting their coats down and so he can walk on, so the donkey can walk on. They was taking palm leaves and putting it down and calling him Hosanna and giving him all this praise. And the very next day, the same people that was praising him and saying Hosanna and all this was the very people that was saying crucify him. You know what I'm saying? When Pilate was going to release Barabbas, they chose Barabbas or Jesus. They chose Barabbas over Jesus. The very same ones the day before was putting down palm branches and so he can walk on and things of that nature. The very same ones that were saying crucify him. Why? Because that's what people do. That's human nature. That's why you got to be careful with that. And that comes along with the success. Again, Joseph and his brothers. I brought it up earlier, but Joseph and his brothers. You remember when Joseph first had the visions and everything and told his brothers about it. You know what I'm saying? The success that God was going to give him. They were so upset that they sold him into slavery. Told his dad that he had got killed. See, that's all part of the game. You got to be willing to be able to deal with that. Moses and Aaron. You remember Moses and his brother. Moses was the one that was supposed to be the leader, and his brother was basically like his assistant or whatever. And then there was a point when his brother and his sister, both of them came, and they were like, well, now who are you? We're a part of this family too. You know what I'm saying? Why is it that you get to tell us what to do? Why is it all of a sudden that you done made yourself king? And what happened? The Lord ended up striking the sister Miriam with leprosy. You know what I'm saying? That proved that, and then Aaron, oh, my bad. You know what I'm saying? My bad. I ain't mean to step on your toes. You know what I'm saying? And God even said, like, who are y'all to question him? He said, everybody else, you know, all my other prophets, you know, I talk to them in visions and dreams. He said, Moses, I talk face to face. And y'all weren't afraid to try to call him out? You know what I'm saying? Who are y'all to confront him? Why? Because Moses had been successful in leading the people. They was jealous. And they would come along. Another situation with Moses, there was this guy named Korah at one point. Same thing. Who are you? Why do you get to be the leader? You know what I'm saying? Who made you the king kind of thing? And when the challenge Moses, and Moses was like, all right, I tell you what, the Lord is going to prove who's really supposed to be the leader. He said, I tell y'all what, just like, you know what I'm saying, take y'all some censers, put you some incense in it. It was like Korah and there's like 250 other people. He said, take out some incense, a censer, put some incense in it, and you just come to the temple. And, excuse me, I'm sorry, come to the temple and make a sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? And me and Aaron, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to get our senses and we're going to make the sacrifice. And whichever one the Lord accept is going to show you who's really supposed to be the leader. He said, but if the Lord don't accept y'all, may a new thing happen and the ground open up and swallow y'all. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, they all showed up with their little censers and it was all in front of the temple. And, you know what I'm saying, with the censers. And what happened? The ground opened up and swallowed all 250 of them. Why? Because they were hating on Moses because of the position that God had given him, because of the success that he had. You know what I'm saying? But Moses, if y'all remember, Moses didn't even want the position. God gave him that success. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I've been going over there with y'all for the last few weeks, success in the will of God. So I'm telling you how to be successful. I'm telling you how to get God to move in your life and how to get the success in your life. But you got to realize once you do that, people are going to hate on you. They're going to start hating on you. They're going to talk about you. They're going to try to bring up your past. They're going to try to do anything. Or who is he? You remember when Jesus went to Nazareth? He couldn't do any miracles because the people felt they knew him. They was hating on him. Oh, ain't he just Joseph, the carpenter's son? You know what I'm saying? Who is he? Where did he get his wisdom from? How is it that he feel he's the Messiah? Hating on him. Why? Because he was being successful. He was doing miracles. He had the power of God on him. So you got to understand, when you start doing those things, when you start becoming successful, you're going to have people hate on you. You're going to have people hate on you. You're going to have people that's going to praise you. You're going to have your ones that's going to be down for you and they're going to praise you. But you're going to have more people that's going to hate on you than you are going to have people that's going to praise you. And make sure you remember that so it don't get you out of the will of God. It don't make you give up and, you know what I'm saying, and get out of the will of God. So number 7, success will bring praise and hatred. So be prepared to deal with the good and the bad. So again, I'm telling you how to deal with success. The thing you should expect as you become more successful. These are the things that are going to pop up. And if you remember these things and you know these things, it'll help you continue to stay in the will of God, and it can help you continue to elevate and be the successful person that God made you to be. So that's number 7. So one more. Y'all doing good. I mean, we're right here at the time, but we're going to get the last points. I'm going to go and finish it up. And I'm going to get to this plate. I'm going to let y'all get to the rest of y'all day. So number 7, again, success will bring praise and hatred. So be prepared to deal with the good and the bad. And like I said, take praise and criticism and put them in the same trash can, because when it comes to human, they are both worthless. So that was number 7. Number 8, last one. So what do you do? The last one, and this really could have went in with number 7, but I wanted to separate this out to help you know, all right, now you got the success. You know what I'm saying? Now you got, you know what I'm saying, you got the people that's hating on you. You got the praises and you got the hatred. You got the, you know, people coming at you all kind of sideways, trying to, you know, provoke you to do things. How do you handle this? How do you handle it? And this last point is going to let us, we're going to see how Saul handled it, and it's going to be our last point for the night. So again, it says, but there were some wicked men who complained, how can this man save us? And they despised him and refused to bring him gifts. And here you go, last line, and we'll be finished. It said, but Saul ignored them. Get it again. But Saul ignored them. So what's the best way to deal with the hate, all the extra pressure, all the stuff that comes along with success? Number 8 is this. A huge part of success is having the discretion of knowing where to focus your time and your energy. Again, number 8, a huge part of success is having the discretion of knowing where to focus your time and your energy. Saul ignored him. He just got crowned king. He just got told he got all these responsibilities now that he's responsible for this nation. He's responsible for God's own people. He's responsible for this. He's responsible for got all these responsibilities. He ain't got time to be dealing with no haters. Ignore him. That's something y'all heard me say this before. Our time is our most precious resource. Your time, we think it's money and gold and silver and all that. No, your time is your most precious resource, because nobody knows how much time they really have. Nobody knows how much time they have. So that's why you should do everything you can to avoid wasting time. That's why you have to cut people off to avoid wasting time. That's why you have to cut certain activities out to avoid wasting time, because it's so important that you remember that your time is your most precious resource. So, and when you become get in a leadership position, or you become successful, it's even more imperative that you manage your time correctly. Because if not, you will find yourself putting time and energy into people and situations that is just wasting that time and energy, and it's going to keep you from being able to truly be successful. You have to focus, because you can't be successful trying to take on everything. You can't. You can't be successful. You can't take on everything. No, everything doesn't warrant your time. Everything doesn't warrant your energy. You know what I'm saying? You can only focus on the things that you can control. You know, so that's what you got to learn to do. That's something I had to learn to do since I got into the ministry. You know, I remember talking to my son. I got a son that has autism, and he wants to do this big, great thing. He wants to do this big, huge, great thing to just, you know what I'm saying, save the world, so to speak, or, you know what I'm saying, have an impact on the world. And I told him, I said, son, if you think about all the problems where you try to cure all the problems of the world, so to speak, it'll be overwhelming. It's too. If you look at the world as a whole, and everything that's going on now, and especially in today's world, and all of the debauchery that's taking place in today's world, it'll drive you crazy. It'll drive you crazy. But what you can do, you might not be able to affect the whole world, but you can affect your world. And that's what you got to do. You got to break it down in little pieces. You know, so I tell people all the time, me doing these videos, me going out soul winning, me praying, me reading my Bible, that's me doing my part to try to have a positive effect on this world. That's what I'm doing. That's why I do these things. That's why I do these lessons with y'all. Try to help encourage y'all to get out there and go soul winning and do the things that God has for us to do. That's me doing my part. And that's all you can do. You can only do your part. You can't, if you look at the world as a whole, it'll drive you insane. It's so much craziness going on. Sometimes when I get on YouTube, I like watching YouTube shorts, and I see these YouTube videos, these shorts of these people that's, these transgender people, and these people telling you, oh, you're going to respect us. These delusional people, like we were talking about earlier, oh, you're going to respect us. You're going to respect my pronouns and all that. Like, that is insane. But I can't worry about that. The only thing I can do is to keep on doing my part to educate y'all, to motivate y'all, to encourage y'all to do more for the Lord. And by me doing that, that's me helping the world. You know what I'm saying? I told y'all before, you don't help the world, it ain't going to be no one big great thing that's going to bring this world back to the Lord and save this world. It's just a whole lot of little things being done every day, all the time. You know what I'm saying? And that's what you can do. You can do the little bit that you can do. If you do your little part, and you know what I'm saying, Chris do his little part. If I do my little part, Chris do his little part. My wife do her little part. My kids do their little part. If everybody just do their little part, this world will be a better place. But a lot of times we get to focus our energy and our time and our attention to something that don't need to be focused on. Our time and energy and attention don't need to be focused to. You know what I'm saying? When I was putting this together, I was thinking about, when I talk about how overwhelming it can be in the world, I was thinking about the serenity prayer. I do a lot of work with the drug rehab center there, and one of the things, just about every rehab center, any kind of form of rehab, they always do the serenity prayer is big in all of them. You know what I'm saying? But it also applies to this point here, and I looked it up and I wrote it down. But what is it saying? Because it's basically saying what I'm telling you about knowing where to focus your time and energy. Because listen, this is the surrender prayer. It says this, it said, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. See what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. The wisdom to know what I need to put my energy toward and what I don't. It said living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking as Jesus did this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will. Is that not what I've been saying for the last few weeks, y'all? The importance of following God's will. This is exactly what I said when I was thinking about serenity prayer. I'm like, I'm going to write this down. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to write this down, and I'm going to take this. This is perfect to what I'm talking about, this last point here. Saul ignored them. These people hating on them. God has just made him king. He just got crowned the first king of Israel. God has made him king, told him what he needed to do, and immediately people start hating on him. He didn't go out and start chasing them down, trying to kill them. No, he just ignored them. Why? Because everything doesn't deserve your energy. Everything doesn't deserve your ignorance, and foolishness does not deserve your energy. You do not have to give your energy to that stuff. Ignore that stuff. Don't let it bother you. You know what I'm saying? I remember this one time, and it goes like because I have to use that all the time. That's not why a lot of people I don't mess with. They'll say a lot of things I don't do because I'm always managing my time and my energy. I remember this one time, like even with soul winning, you have to do it. I remember this one time, me and my boy who was soul winning down in Nashville, and we was down in Nashville in the projects, and the boys, I hadn't seen the boys for a few minutes, and I'm like, where are they at? I was out talking to somebody, and it had been a few minutes since I seen the boys, so finally I come around the corner and I see them talking to this dude, this cab driver. So they sitting there talking to this dude, and they trying to tell the dude about Jesus, and he trying to tell them that Jesus wasn't God. And you know what I'm saying? And he was like, oh, yeah, there's nowhere in the Bible where Jesus actually said that he was God. It was always other people saying it, but he never said it himself. I said, no, sir, that's a lie. There's several times. And I just happened to walk up, and I'm like, what's going on? They kind of explained to me. And then the guy, yeah, there's nowhere. I said, no, that's a lie. I said, there's several places in the Bible. And of course, I have my Bible with me, and I just start opening my Bible up and showing them all the time what Jesus, called himself Son of Man and things of that nature, and how if you look back in the prophecies, that's what they called the Messiah, the Son of Man and all that. So I'm going through with this guy, and he's like, well, no, that's not, he didn't just come out and straight say it. So right there, I knew that this guy was ignorant. He had already made up his mind. And of course, he was Muslim. He had already made up his mind. So there was no point in me putting any more energy. I was like, well, sir. And I said, well, sir, I only talked to him a few minutes. My boys, they probably had been sitting there 20, 30 minutes. And that's time they could have been talking to other people and getting the gospel to other people. But they spent all that time and energy talking to this guy when in reality, they weren't going to convince him of anything anyway because he had already made his mind up. So like I said, as soon as I talked to him and I gave him these verses and he still went with, well, I knew right then there was no point of me putting any more time and energy into this conversation. So I just told him, I said, you know what, sir? You believe how you believe. You know what I'm saying? I believe how I believe. I'm not going to convince you. You're not going to convince me. You have a good rest of your day. And when I said that, he drove off. And I told the boys, I said, look, if you're trying to get a gospel somebody and they just want to argue with you, I said, don't sit there and spend that time with them because you're wasting your time. You know what I'm saying? You're wasting your time and energy. There's other people you could have been talking to that would have actually accepted the gospel instead of somebody that just want to argue about the gospel. I said, you got to watch this. So you have to watch when you put your time and energy. Another thing, ignorance. Ignorance is something like racism. It's something that I don't spend no time. I don't got anybody. I'm not going to sit here and argue back and forth or spend any significant time with somebody that hates somebody simply because of their skin color. That's ignorant to me. That's beneath me. And it's not that I'm so great. That's beneath me. I'm too wise. I'm too much of a child of God to spend some time with that. You know what I'm saying? But I had a situation that happened just a week or so ago where me and my wife got into it over that very thing. Because somebody said something that she took as racist, and I told her, leave it alone. I said, leave it alone. And, leave it alone. It ain't even worth our time. And, and I thought that was it. And it turns out she went and did some stuff that I didn't know she did. And she made a simple, stupid situation turn into something bigger than what it was. And we had to put all kind of time and energy. And we end up getting into it and then talk to each other for a couple of days over it. You know what I'm saying? Something that was really nothing, that required none of your time and energy. She put that time and energy into it, and it made it to something bigger than what it really was. See what I'm saying? Waste of time and energy. And I said, leave that alone. Don't even warrant you saying anything about it. Don't post nothing about it. Leave it alone. But yet she just had to, to get up on it. One of my things, I love my wife to death, but she got a pettiness to her. She just had to say something. And it ended up blowing up into a big thing. When really it could have been nothing. And there was a certain amount of time and energy that had to be put into trying to get that taken care of or doing damage control that we wouldn't have to do if we just ignored it. So that's the best way to do when you got somebody hating on you, because when success comes, that hatred gonna come. Ignore it. Don't give into it. Don't give no time or energy to dealing with any ignorance or foolishness. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's while you're doing the word of God, while you out there witnessing to people, whatever it is, if it's ignorant, matter of fact, if it's not something of God or something that can keep you out of his will, then you shouldn't put any energy toward it at all. Now, if it's something that can keep you out of God's will that you got to take care of, yes, that demands your time and attention, your energy. You know what I'm saying? If it's something that's going to pull you out of his will, then yes, you take care of that. But if it's not going to pull you out the will of God, if it's not going to do anything to help your success, and it might actually hurt your success, then leave it alone. Ignore it, because it's not worth your time and energy. It's not worth the time and energy that you're going to spend putting into this thing, and it's really not going to get anything resolved. That's why when I go out and I talk to people, like I say, a soul winner, I always ask them what's their background like. You know what I'm saying? They say they go to church. What's your denomination? I don't ask people that so I can argue with them about which denomination is right. I ask them this so I know how to approach them. And if I'm talking to them and they try to bring in we believe this and that, I don't argue back and forth with them. I just, all right, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. I'm not going to argue. It's not my job. And I've told y'all this before. It's not our job to convince anybody that Jesus is God. It's not our job to convince people that Jesus is real. It's not our job to convince people they need to be saved. Our job is only to go out and take the gospel to those that want to hear it. That's our job. So anything outside of that is us wasting our time and energy. And you got to be careful with that. And that's why I said that could have really went into the other one, but I wanted to make it his own point, because we do that so many times. We're so quick to get in trying to defend our God. We're so quick to get in trying to defend our denomination. We're so quick to try to get in defending, the word of God. And really all we're doing is making things worse. And we're actually wasting time and energy that could be used talking to somebody that actually want to hear the gospel, talking to somebody or going somewhere and coming across somebody that actually need to hear the gospel. We've wasted all this time and energy arguing with somebody that no matter how much evidence you give them, they're not going to believe the gospel anyway. So that's number 8. A huge part of success is having the discretion of knowing where to focus your time and energy. That's something I pray. I told y'all before, when I wake up in the morning, I give God control of my day. Lord, thank you for giving me another day. I pray you give me this time that I have today to do the work you have me to do. I'm sorry, I was bugging here. To do the work that you have for me to do, and just give me the wisdom to get everything done I need to get done and go everywhere I need to be so I can honor and glorify you with this time you give me today. That's my prayer. You know what I'm saying? And I'm basically saying the same thing, surrender. Lord, the stuff I can't control, the stuff I need to put my time and energy in, show it to me. And the stuff I don't need to deal with, show me that as well. Because I don't want to waste the time and energy I have that you've given me doing something that's not going to follow your kingdom or follow your kingdom, help follow your will or help bring success to my life. You know what I'm saying? It's very important that you manage your time and you manage your energy, because if not, it will hinder you from truly being able to be successful. So that's it, y'all. I made it through 5 points. I got it done. That's it for the night. Like I said, I'm still about my normal time, but I didn't go over and I got all 5, and I don't feel I rushed it. If I did, I apologize. I do got a plate waiting on me. I'm trying to get to do some grub. But that's it, man. Like I said, just remember those things. Again, I've been teaching you how to get to success. Now, if you remember those things, it'll help you deal with the success once it comes. And now, so that finishes up chapter 10. So that now chapter 11, we're going to start seeing some of the things that you have to do to continue that success as well. I'm not exactly sure what the title going to be. I haven't got it in just yet. But God willing, next Monday night, 7 o'clock, y'all come back. We're going to start chapter 11. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and make my announcements. I'm going to get out of here to get to this plate. So, of course, if there's anything in particular you would like for me to talk about, or a certain story that I haven't covered, or anything, any subject I haven't covered just yet, and you just really want me to do a lesson on it, I always feel free to inbox me and I can work it into my lesson plans. Right now, I got plans of next Monday going over 1 Samuel chapter 11. Like I said, if anybody inbox me and they need something to hear something else, I don't mind changing my plans up. You know what I'm saying? Nothing is never certain. I want to give y'all what y'all need. So if you need to reach out to me, got something you want me to cover, reach out to me and let me know. Keep sharing the videos and telling others about the videos as well. I thank you all for what you've been doing. The views have been going up and I really appreciate that. But it's not about the views, it's about the message. And I pray that as I'm getting more views because there's more people looking for the truth and looking for wisdom, and they're using these videos to get that wisdom. So continue to tell people about it. Can share the videos. My stuff is always public, and I appreciate y'all doing that. And of course, we didn't really talk about salvation tonight, but if you're not 100% sure that when you go through that door called death, you're going to get to see Jesus on the side, please reach out to me and let me know. And I will work some time in my schedule where I can call you or meet up with you and we can go to the gospel and help you make that decision, because it's the most important decision that you will ever make in your life. And of course, the last but not least, I'm always available for some kind of spiritual counseling or something. So again, if you need some kind of spiritual counseling, you just need to talk, want to know something about the Bible, whatever it is, reach out to me and let me know, and I will work set up some time with you so I can get you the whatever help you need, use whatever little wisdom God has given me to share with you to get you the help you need. And as always, if y'all want to catch my old videos, all my videos are on there, the ones I've done so far. Go to my YouTube page at youtube.com, type in God's Servant / Lost Sheep Ministries, and it'll take you to my channel. And you can go to my channel and watch all my old videos and the videos that I've done before. And it's easy to find instead of just scrolling up and down. I always post them on Facebook as well, but it's easy to find them on my YouTube because everything is in order and you don't have the million memes that I'm always seem to be tagged in. So with that being said, I thank y'all for joining me tonight. Hope y'all are having a wonderful holiday, getting to hang out with family and everything. Again, don't forget the reason for the holiday is to celebrating because we're able to celebrate because of the sacrifice that was made by those that came before us. And we appreciate everything they've done. And I thank them for the sacrifice they made. And I pray that the Lord will be with their families and show them the wonderful things that they did so we can have these freedom. So with that being said, also announcing to my Lost Sheep people, the bus is not working. I know we normally have tomorrow's going to be the 5th Tuesday, and normally we'll have a meeting, but the bus is not working, and my truck one of my trucks has got to be put in the shop, so I'm not gonna have to wait to come pick y'all up. So we're not gonna meet tomorrow. We'll just meet on the first Tuesday like we normally do next week. So I apologize about that. I know y'all were probably looking forward to that, but we're not gonna meet tomorrow. Instead, we're gonna meet on the first Tuesday in June, which I believe is the 6th is when we had our first meeting for June, which is on a normal schedule. We just usually have that one every once in a while where it's 5 Tuesdays and we have a meeting, but it can't do it because we don't have the transportation this time. So if y'all watching this and y'all wonder we're going to meet tomorrow, we'll not meet tomorrow. I do apologize, but we will be back in on our regular schedule the week after that. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pray and I'm going to get out of here, y'all. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you so much for watching over us. Thank you so much for this wonderful lesson tonight. And I pray that I didn't rush it. I wasn't trying to rush it. I was doing my usual thing, but I prayed that it wasn't rushed. But I prayed that people would take heed to it and listen to it, Lord, and use it. I'm praying that they've been watching this series the whole time as I've been talking about successful and what you need to do to be successful. And I pray that as they see these and they start to get this success and start to realize this success and the success start to come in their life, they realize there's going to be some elements that can come along with this success. And I pray that they will use this lesson to help them manage those elements so they can continue to be successful and live their life to honor and glorify you. We thank you so much for your word that you've given us, to guide us in the direction we need to go always, Lord. Thank you so much for these faithful ones that even though it's a holiday, they was here and listen to your word once again. I thank you for sending your spirit down upon me so that I can bring your word once again, Lord. And I thank you so much for shining your love and grace down upon me so I can do the work that you have for me to do. Continue to use these words spoken here tonight, of course, but continue to use this ministry, continue to use my family and my family members and my ministry members, Lord, to do a wonderful work in your name. I thank you once again for all those that are willing to make their sacrifice so we can have the things that we have and do the things that we do. All those that made the ultimate sacrifice, Lord, again, be with their families and let their families know that we do remember and we appreciate what their family did, what their loved ones did for us, Lord. And we just thank you so much for your faithful servants that's doing the same thing. We know a lot of faithful servants over there, that missionaries that's in hostile territories, and a lot of people that have given up comforts of life to go ahead and do your work. I pray you just be with them. We thank them for their service as well. And just thank you for this wonderful day. Thank you for getting us the time off for those that had the time off. But more importantly, thank you for giving us this opportunity to get into your word today. We pray that we take these words, use them, apply them to our lives, and so you continue to use us to do a wonderful work in your name, to continue to honor and glorify your name and actively be your kingdom. And we pray as always, Lord, for the day when the world as a whole, we will humble ourselves, pray, seek your face and turn from our wicked ways so you may hear from heaven, forgive our sins and heal our lands. We love you so very much. Thank you for all you've done and given. Thank you for this session tonight. And we say this prayer in one of Son, Jesus' name. Amen. So again, thank y'all, man. I apologize for all the background noise. I got people in there in the living room. It's not far from where I'm at, so they out there running their mouths. I told them to be quiet, but of course they don't listen. But I think that hopefully it wasn't too much of an interruption. But more importantly, I just pray that this lesson will help y'all. And again, as y'all start to live for the Lord and start to walk in the path of the Lord and start having the success that comes with that, I pray you will use these points here tonight and then from the previous lesson to manage that. Know that it's going to bring some elements to it that you need to be aware of. But if you're aware of them and you apply these principles here, you continue to be successful and you can truly use your life to honor and glorify the Lord. So I love y'all so much. Thank y'all. Hope y'all having a wonderful day. Pray y'all finish y'all day up good and safe and get ready to get back to work tomorrow. But until next time, I love you all. Continue to pray for me. I continue to pray for you. And remember to always watch your back and pray. I love you so much. Until next time, peace.